All right. Thank you for joining me again on this episode. It's my youngest guest so far. He's a young stud. He's a getter. He's he's bold. He's bright. I can sit here all day pumping him up. He's one of my favorite people out of State Line Speedway. Get to know Owen Zahnow. All right, we're here. Owen Zahnow, everyone. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm good. You got a nice little shop there. What you
Yeah,
got going on behind you?
I got my new Legend car we just picked up at the end of last year, and then this is the old Betsy right here.
Heck yeah. Heck yeah. What have you been up to?
Not much. Working. Went snowboarding a few times this winter. Just working on race cars and stuff. Same old, same old.
Yeah. So what, you're 17 now or
Yep,
18? 17.
17.
And you already graduated, right?
Not yet. I'm online school, but I'm like super close to graduation. Probably have it done this
Gotcha.
weekend.
Gotcha. And so you're no longer wrestling. I know you're a pretty good wrestler though.
Yeah, I was all right. Not wrestling anymore because I don't go to public school, so I can't really be on a
Yeah,
wrestling team when
right on. So, you got that, you had that new dirt bike. You picked that up last year. You've been riding that around, where you've been riding?
I've been riding up Canfield Mountain. Um, we went to one of my buddy's neighbor's tracks a few times. It's been fun. Haven't really done a crazy amount on it yet, but
Right on. Right on. Well, like I do with everybody, this is kind of we're gonna get to know Mr. Owen Zahnow. Um, so tell me, sorry, my phone's ringing right now. There we go. Okay. So, where were you born? So we've already covered I mean, I think you're from North Idaho, right? You were
yep,
born here in North
I
Idaho.
was I was born over at the Coeur d'Alene Hospital, so
Coeur
lived here my
d'Alene,
whole life.
right? Okay. And you and your dad, we met at the track, what, 2 years ago? Um, and so it's been a fun couple of years.
Yeah,
So what do you do for work?
I work at Accent Fabrication, and I'm a fabricator. So we build a lot of like hand railings, and we do like some structural stuff and some like a lot of ornamental work and stuff like
Okay.
that. So
And when did you start doing this?
I started doing that this time last year, and
Okay.
I stopped doing it for like 3 or 4 months, and then I'm back now. So
Okay. Um, so you're just full time worker now, 17-year-old out
yeah,
experiencing life on your own.
yep.
That's
I
that's pretty it's pretty interesting.
pay for pretty
And
much everything myself now, so I work and pay for most of my racing and everything's paid for by me, and other than little things here and there, but I just
so you
yeah.
talking with your dad, Matt, he had said you had pretty much bought that car on your own. Was that all you?
Yeah, it's been 100% me.
See, and then that's the difference right there. There's you don't see that anymore right there.
Yeah,
That's big respect to you, man. You're
thank you.
like a young grown man already. Um, in the intro, I referred to you as you're a getter. You're there to get some.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
you're a dog. So I like that. So tell me about when you first started motorsports, whether it's back on a trail on a dirt bike. When did you start riding?
I've been riding. Well, it all started on four wheelers, and I've been riding four wheelers for as long as I can possibly remember. Like probably 3, 4 years old. Like as soon as I was old enough to comprehend how to do stuff.
Right.
I've been on an engine type of thing. So
Yeah. Yeah. I've heard you taking a few tumbles.
yeah, dirt bikes are rough.
Yeah, they are. I've done it myself.
Yeah,
And then we covered you're a wrestler. You're a correct me if I'm wrong, but you're like a state level wrestler. I know you and I we've had a couple tangles having fun
yeah,
at the track, and yeah, you sure showed me you are. So you're a
yeah.
state level wrestler. You dirt bike in your spare time. You go hunting too, right? Tell me
Yeah.
about that.
Um, I archery hunt and both rifle hunt. It kind of depends if you get an animal archery, you can't really shoot an animal um, during
Yeah,
rifle.
you go.
Yeah, I do both archery and rifle, both deer and elk. Um,
Okay.
do a lot of fishing in the summer too. My buddy owns a nice boat and he does a lot of bass fishing. I do that a lot.
All right.
Really enjoy
All
that.
right. Well, heck yeah. Well,
Yeah,
you're looking good.
outdoors, man.
Killer stash, by the way.
Thank
How
you.
long you been working on that?
It's been a while. It's been a long time coming.
All right. I guess when it comes to racing now, you've been racing a couple years now,
Yeah,
and
I think it's been.
I got the opportunity to see you kind of at your first day out at the racetrack,
Yeah. Um,
and you were out there with the Bandoleros. Like you were
yeah,
just
it
out
was.
there coasting, driving it, and here you are. Now you're a two-time feature winner.
Yeah.
Um, how's that feel?
It feels pretty good. I mean, it's definitely been quite the learning curve.
Yeah,
They're not. I've never driven any other car other than a Legend, so it's or raced any other car other than a Legend. So I mean, your first car getting straight into a Legend, one of the squirreliest things out there, is
it's pretty intense.
pretty intense. Yeah, it's
So tell
really.
me how you got into this. So you go from dirt biking to just straight legend cars. Tell me that story of how you got into legend cars.
Yeah. So we were my one of my best friends, Gage Howell. He raced this car right here,
Yeah.
and we were at the track watching him race, and he didn't want to race legends anymore, and I was kind of at the age where I either needed a new bike, and Chad Gage's dad Chad was trying to or tell my dad to buy this car, and my dad was like, well, do you want to continue racing dirt bikes, or do you want to continue, or do you want to try out cars? And I was like, I'm pretty sure at the time I had a broken leg and I beat myself up on a dirt bike pretty good. Spent a few nights in the hospital. And I was like, let's give cars a try. I mean, it looks like a blast. It looks fun, so let's do it. And then my dad bought this car for me, and that's how it all
And,
started.
and that's when we met.
Yep, which was my first time ever in the car.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. No. Well, it didn't take long. We got you there
yeah, it was. Yeah,
with a busted shock and you name it. We
lots of
got you there.
things, lots
Yep.
of little things. This car's
You
been
you
quite the
got down
revival.
to I think in your by the end of your first season you ran some O's, didn't you? You got down
Yeah,
to like a high O,
yeah.
15 O.
This old 1250 on Philistines has run lots of O's, which is something I'm pretty proud of because that's something you don't really see is a sedan with a 1250 out there being fast.
Yeah. So from that first win, we all know that was kind of an incredible story from
Yeah,
what you had mentioned Let's, if you don't mind, can we talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, of course. That was probably the highlight of my life.
Yeah,
It was so Gage had passed away the weekend before,
yeah,
and this car had a blown up engine, and I had that race coming up the next Saturday, and we were already putting the motor in it and stuff, and everything happened, and I made a promise to Gage that I would win the next race for him no matter what, like, and well, it was because I promised I was gonna win the race or I was gonna wreck my car. That
yeah.
was that was the two options I gave. And I think I told two other people that promise. I told you and
Yep.
I told my dad. And other than that, I kept it all to myself. And that's how I went into race day that day. And then,
Championship night, right?
yeah, championship night. So I think there was also a championship battle going on, if I remember right. So
Yeah.
that was a hot night to race. And 8 laps into practice, grenaded my motor, like fireball down the back stretch. And I was like, well, that's that. We didn't have another motor at home, and I was like, it was an emotional wreck, you know.
Well, and let me kind of help you with that. Think about the amount of people that came over and was scrambling.
Yeah.
Um,
Well,
they knew the
I'll get there.
yeah,
Yeah, that's like. Um, so what happened was we blew the motor up. I went home. I was an emotional train wreck. Whatever, you know. Obviously, I. So Justin Hamlin was like, I have a spare 1250 motor sitting at my house. Go get it. And I'm at home, and my dad calls me. He's like, come get me right now from the track. And I was like, okay, what's up? And he's like, we got a motor. And I'm like, you want us? I'm like, we have like an hour and a half till race time, dude. Or till qualifying. I'm like, you want to do a motor swap? He's like, yeah, we can do it. I'm like, all right. So I haul ass over there, pick up my dad, haul ass to Justin's shop, pick up a motor, came back to the track. And I mean, it was all hands on deck. I think everyone in the pits helped us out that night. It was like probably one of the coolest things I've ever seen the racing community do, and it was really special. That was for me. We did the motor swap in 45 minutes, motor out, motor in 45 minutes. We had, I mean, all the other legend drivers were stalling qualifying, like they weren't bringing their cars to qualifying, so we could push qualifying out a little further. And then
mm-hmm.
other classes started doing it, and then so we stalled qualifying by like probably 15-30 minutes so I could get my motor swap done. And then we went out and qualified fourth with a jumper pack strapped to the roll cage because oh yeah, no front clip, no hood, no fenders, no anything, and qualified fourth.
Yeah.
And then heat races came around, and then the main event came, and I was pretty down because we had no time to work on setup that day. I don't even think we like looked at our toe, looked at anything. So I was like, who knows where this car's at right now?
You had tires soaked in oil from the blown
Yeah,
motor.
yeah. All four tires were completely soaked in oil. I was like, all right. Well, I'm like, I'll just go give it what I got, and hope I can get it done. But I was just not confident in what I had. And I think so the main event started, and then I think lap 7 came around, and I made a move for the lead, and then I was just as hard as I could defensively drive from there. I mean, I was not letting any car around me, and that was that. We won the race that night, and it was pretty special.
That hands down, and I've been racing a long time, right? That was probably the most beautiful thing I've
Yeah,
ever seen at a racetrack.
yeah,
And
it was.
to kind of recap the audience here, So basically, imagine your best friend, closest thing you can have as a brother, your entire life tragically pass away suddenly, and then you're driving his car.
Yeah,
You're here. His family's here to support you. The whole racing community is behind you to support you,
yeah,
and then you miraculously go out there and pull off a dub that's
yeah,
never happened before, and you're in ill equipment. Like your car was sick. Like there's no way this should have even happened, and you were calling it the whole week. It was truly like an act of God.
yeah.
I would say. I
It was
think Gage
amazing,
was there with you,
100%.
and I think everybody in that stadium had hairs standing up
Yeah,
um,
it was.
on their necks, and then on top of that, Trayton went out and did it too.
Yeah, the next night, Trayton went out and did it in Gage's late model, and so he
Yeah,
had.
it was insane. It's a story worth telling, and
Yeah,
it's tragedy meets triumph in the end
hmm
there.
it was
So
emotional roller coaster to say the least. I mean,
yeah,
it
yeah.
was a lot of ups and downs.
So we get through that, and so here we are. We're in the off season. Um, I had destroyed my car at that point, and
Hmm
so we're rolling through winter, getting into the next year, and tell me how the beginning of this season started. And it's it was tough, but let's see what you have to say about that. Like what rolling into this season before your new car was even a thought. What were we doing? What were we planning? What were we thinking?
We went into the beginning of last season knowing we still had ill equipment. We still had 1250. We were still on Bilsteins and everything. So, but we had been competitive, and that last race had showed me that hey, this car can win. So I went out there like I didn't think I was going to win a championship, but I thought I was going to be able to be a competitive car, top five in points, and that was kind of my goals looking into the season. And we spent a lot of time on the car, fixed a lot of nooks and little quirks and stuff like that. And the season started off really rough. We lost the master cylinder the first race, and then the second race, I forget what happened, but something was not right at all. And then the third race, I believe we blew our motor up again, and that was our last motor. And we were like, oh, we could put another 1250 in it, and I'm like, it's not even worth it. We might as well just
Yeah,
buy an FZ or an MT, and so that's kind of how that all ended for me last season. And then,
yeah. Um, well, and well, since you, I think after the shootout, then you started driving again, right?
yep,
We got a P3, that one race. First time in the car, pretty much. It was pretty much like I know you said it was your third race you blew up. I felt like it was.
it might have been like the second. It was
Yeah, I
early.
thought it was your second race you blew up.
Yeah, it might have been the second because it
And
was early.
that was early morning in practice.
Yeah,
So fast forward, you're out of the seat all the way to the
hmm
end of the year.
yeah. I was
And
out of the seat for probably a good 3 months almost.
yeah, and then you come out and you were driving Sydney's car, I think,
Yep, yep.
and you came out and did great.
Yeah, I
Had
think
some
it was a
bugs. You
P4, and we had a spindle bolt come loose, and the car was like
yeah,
pretty much uncontrollable, but we still held on for. It was a P4, P5, I forget, but we were fast there, led a couple
yeah,
laps, and until the spindle bolt came loose, and then it kind of fell apart. But yeah,
yeah. So at this point, things are kind of on the looking up, and then you get your hands on this car, and
yeah,
then I think this is either championship night or the fun race?
It was the fun race at Halloween Bash, and for that one, it was a Saturday race. And Friday night, I bought in the car, and me and my dad worked on it all night long till like 3 o'clock in the morning. Fixing stuff. It was had some damage, and fixed it all up, and went out and won that race. So
Mm-hmm.
we're 1 for 1 in this car.
I
So
know. I know.
yeah,
It's a good car.
yeah.
Did you guys ever end up getting a brake bias in it?
I have the brake bias sitting back there ready for it. I just
Gotcha.
haven't gone
Yeah,
in yet. That's like the big limiting factor in this car right now is it can be
yeah,
so
that
much factor the brake.
that was the one thing that car needed for sure.
Yeah, I have them for it.
Um, and so so yeah, here we are. We get that last race and you got the dub.
hmm
Do you know how you qualified? I think you were on pole, right?
I qualified second, and I missed pole by I think a thousandth of a second.
Oh, Carson got you.
No, it was I forget her name. It was someone out of Oregon, I believe.
Okay, okay. Was it Brody?
No, it was
Oh,
I couldn't tell you who it was. I forget.
gotcha, gotcha. So you get the dub, and here we are. Things are looking pretty damn good, right?
hmm
So how you feeling now? Pretty confident going into this year.
I feel. I mean, this is probably the most excited I've ever been to race. We have. I mean, I feel like we have a new car, and it's got all nice new equipment and everything. And I have been
Yeah.
racing, old equipment, old motor, old shocks, all this stuff. And now I finally have a car that I know is fast. I know it's competitive. Like I know it's top one car, top three car every
Mm-hmm.
race, and now I really feel good because I think I'm going to be able to show, you know, who I really am,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
I,
You're
I
a
don't,
dog. That's who you are.
yeah, I don't have any excuses going into this year. That's the main thing. I don't have any excuses. I can't blame my car. I can't blame my motor. I can't blame my shocks. So,
No, and it's never gonna be perfect. When we get
no,
there,
of
it's gonna
course
be
not. But
something.
yeah,
But tell the audience a discipline you've learned from the last 2 years that you're gonna apply going into this season into racing moving forward. Tell me something that you have learned because, like I said, here we are. You've won 2 features. And when we met, you were out there with the bandos
yeah.
in a legend car just coasting. So you've come a long way. So tell me something you've learned um, on that journey.
Something I've learned about just racing, specifically driving and everything, is patience. Like
Yeah,
you gotta have patience if you want to be fast because you can't be out there being all squirrely and all over the place and expect to be fast. It just doesn't work in a
yeah,
race. And uh, the,
yeah,
the 2 races that I've won is probably the smoothest I've ever driven, and that shows me something right there. So
yeah, absolutely.
that's what I think.
Um, is there, so who's been your, I mean, obviously we know your dad, and, one thing that really makes me have a lot of love for you guys is you guys remind me so much of me and my dad when I was younger because it was the same thing, a father son team. It's just so admirable.
Mhm.
Tell me something that you just love every time you go out to the track with your dad. How does that make you feel when you show up and you got something to do with your dad?
Yeah,
In 10, 15 years from now, you're going to look back and remember those moments. And so tell me something that you're going to remember.
yeah. Well, I just gotta say first of all, like my dad's like my best friend. So it's not really I'm out there with my dad. It's out there with my best friend.
Right.
So um, I when I'm at the track with my dad, I get pretty worked up at times because I'm a competitive person and I want to win, and um, sometimes my emotions get the best of me. But yeah, it's just being out there with my dad, and I mean, when I do good, he's always, even when I do bad, he's always telling me how I did good, if that makes
Mm-hmm.
sense. So
Mm-hmm.
like um, nobody could ever look past stuff like that and still tell me how I did good, you know. So that that really means a lot to me.
Absolutely. And I've noticed you and Alex Mandir have been really tight. You guys pretty
Mhm.
good friends still?
Yeah, we still talk.
Awesome.
He's been spotting for me for the past few races. So
Yeah.
yeah, he's a good
He,
spotter.
he is
I
a good
really.
spotter. He's a good spotter. Um, so yeah, here we go. Out of I want to say, especially with Hermiston shutting down, this year's going to be.
Hmm.
It's terrible that that happened. First of all, but we're going to get a lot of those cars every race.
It's going to be
Um,
a competitive year to say the least.
I was telling Zimmer when I did this with him that there's going to be half a dozen cars that are going to be stand out and you know um, in the hunt.
Hmm.
I think there's going to be more than that. Thinking
I
about it.
agree because
After thinking about that, and yeah, there's going to be probably might be like 10 cars that can win on any
yeah,
given day.
it's going to
That's
be a
how it should
dogfight.
be.
Hmm.
There shouldn't be anybody with any kind of weird advantage. Um, it should be. I mean, if somebody has somebody's just dominating, it's kind of weird.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
so it's going to be very tight.
Hmm.
Brody specifically, I'm bringing him up because he went down to Tucson and really lit it up. He
Hmm.
was P2, P3 most of the time, and he's got some good talent. Carson, obviously, he's going to have great talent. He's another young stud.
Yeah.
Zimmer, Dassenbrock, they're going to be just as fast as they always will be. Um, it's going to be coming from all directions, man. But I
Hmm.
expect you to be in there, and I think you're
I'm
gonna.
excited for it. I hope
Yeah,
everyone's as good as they can be because if
yeah.
I want to do this and
You know,
I say let's do it.
let's do it, brother. Um, so so we've covered that. I mean, the class is looking healthy, right?
Hmm.
Um, going into the future, do you have any thoughts of racing in the future, like long term? Is this something you want to do your whole life?
Um, I would love to do it my whole life. I mean, I love racing. I look forward to it 7 days a week, you know, for all year round.
Yeah,
But um, I I would love to drive my whole life and do it, every weekend. But um, life happens, and I'm kind of just taking it year by year. And if opportunities arise, they arise, and I'll take them. But right now, I'm just kind of doing my thing, going year by year.
yeah. Well, let me put it like this, or phrase it like this. Everybody else, since you're a younger gentleman here, I'll ask it like this. Everybody else, I've been asking, what's the current state of short track racing for you? Since you have a future, you got you're still a teenager, um, and to most people, you're still like a baby, right? You're not. You're a little grown baby, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Um, since you have such a future in racing, and you're gonna at this time probably the longest future in racing in terms of like compared to me or anybody else. what's a wish you have for the future of motorsports, of the future of short track racing? What's something that you wish you can do?
I would love to drive a late model more than anything and race late models. I mean, if I could do anything in the world, that would be it, you know. So
So I hope so too. I hope you get to do that.
yeah.
So okay. So if you had a wish, it would be that you could race late models one day.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Amen, brother.
Yeah.
Um, great answer. So so let's ask you this. Sorry, I'm kind of reading off my notes here too. Um, so here's one thing I do know about you is you have an unlimited supply of confidence.
Yeah.
That's that yeah. Could
Yeah.
you agree?
Yeah. It's definitely there.
You are a confident young man, right?
Yeah.
I mean, is that something you've learned from racing? Or is that just
Um,
something you have at the racetrack?
I I couldn't really tell you. Just I feel like the past few years I've just been. I mean, probably last year was like I just started to feel really confident at the racetrack. I know how races
Yeah.
go. You know, I know what I'm there to do. And I did believe a lot of it is also just a headspace thing. I think if you show up at the racetrack thinking you're gonna be a P7 car, you're gonna be a P7 car.
Right.
But if you show up there to win, then chances are you're gonna have a lot better shot at winning. You know,
Yeah.
so I think a lot of it for me is just a headspace, and it's a mental game more than anything for me.
So the only reason I'm saying that is because you're a younger fella, and I'm just I kind of want to see you apply that to the rest of your life as well. Not only just at the racetrack, but it's kind of a good tool to have. Um, something that I've kind of always had a little extra a little too much confidence myself, but I've needed it at times where I've had nothing else and
Yeah.
it benefited me. So that's kind of the point I'm trying to make with that one. You know, so let's kick over to back to racing. So we got the legend this year. Are you gonna go for the championship, I
Yeah.
guess? Give me something. Talk to me about like what's the goals here. I mean, what's the results? Are we trying to get an average finish every race? Who are we chasing?
We're
Tell
definitely
me.
going for championship. You know, I would like to be top five car every race. I think that's
Yeah,
pretty. I think that's a pretty good goal, Pete. You know, but I
yeah.
do want to see a lot of top threes and a few wins. You know, I I want to be up there every race, and that's my goal is to be up there every race. I want to be in the show every race.
Okay, I'm with you. Um, I think I'm gonna be there for everyone. I think a hobby races. I think
Hmm.
they're joint
Yeah,
hobby and legends. Um, so we'll have to pit by each other and this year in Legends, because historically you've kind of had some teammates. You've had myself, you've had Alex, Sydney. This year, are you kind of on your own as far as teammates? Are you just
I'm not.
kind of
I
solo?
I I'm not really super sure. I mean, I've always had there. You know, we'll probably be with the Hamlins a lot. You know, because that's who we've been with in the most recent times.
Yeah,
So, and me and Justin still talk, and so yeah, that'll probably be where you'll see me a lot is with them.
yeah. Um, is there anything? I mean, I think we've covered most of it. Um, is there anything else fun you're doing nowadays? Like, what else do you got going?
I Not a crazy amount. I mean, I've just been kind of doing my thing. Yeah,
Yeah, right
getting
on.
ready for the weather to get warmer so I can go ride some dirt bikes and have some
I know.
have some fun.
Today's been like the warmest day. The
Yeah,
last the last couple times I was out here, I could hardly sit here.
yeah. I can see your breath. It looks cold.
Yeah, it is. Well, I guess let's just I guess before we head out, is there any sponsors or anybody you'd like to thank?
I would like to thank Accent Fabrication. They've always been there for me. They've always been my number one sponsor, and we're still looking for sponsors for this year. So if anybody would like to put their name on a legend, I got a completely clean slate right now. So
Heck yeah. Do you got any color schemes you're gonna go with?
I think I'm probably gonna go with like a white and blue and gray, like darker gray color scheme. I think that'd be pretty cool. And
I got a lot of chrome for you if you want to change your mind.
I'm all right. And this year, I'm also changing my number to 28X from from 28 to 28X for X is the Roman numeral for 10, and that's Gage's number. So that's
Oh,
pretty
that's
cool
really
this
cool.
year. Yep,
And it was his birthday yesterday, right?
yep.
Yes. Well, R.I.P. to our guy, and um, well, you let me know if you need anything,
I will.
and yeah, tell your dad I said hi, and let's talk soon. Hey, if you got any updates, let me know, and I'll bring you back on here.
All right, sounds good. I will do that. Thank you for having
Okay,
me.
absolutely. Well, we'll talk soon.
Yes, sir.
All right, brother.